All right. Blair's here.
Hi,
Blair's here.
friends.
Let's go back to our questions.
Y'all get me twice this month.
Hey.
You know, we did some city scoop, and here we are again.
Well, who knew?
Who
that we
knew?
were going to get all this water.
You know what?
Who knew?
This might be the way I prefer it.
Okay.
It's always lovely to have Blair here.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. I mean, in all honesty, while we are sitting here, there's a lot of shout outs, but specifically shout out to Frankfort Plant Board, your all's crews.
They're the best.
We love them.
All of our crews in the city, and when I say that, I include the plant board crews too.
Okay,
Just been boots on the ground right there, doing everything they can possibly do to keep everything running as smooth as it can.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, well, it's been a big week for everybody, and I really have
Long
to say,
nights.
long nights. But I think everything is going well.
Yeah.
You know, I am a Frankfort resident first and foremost. I'm a South. Kathy and I are neighbors.
Yeah, we live on the same street.
Frankfort independent family.
Yes.
And I have had the advantage of literally seeing the last week play out from a bird's eye view, like third floor emergency operations center, watching it all happen. And I could not be more proud.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, this community has shown up and shown out. And I mean, we've taken a really, really hard situation and truly are doing everything we possibly can. So, absolutely.
Well, we always like to see, like when things like this happen, we like to see people just put it in a turbo.
Absolutely.
You know.
Blair, if people, so cleanup efforts underway.
Absolutely.
If we've got people that need dumpsters.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Dumpsters. So we are actively in the cleanup. That is priority number one for city and county crews right now. Is we know people are getting back into their homes, and truly, like today, our race against the clock to get things out and start to get things dried out where they can. So we have between the city and the county, I think probably 20 different locations for dumpsters. A portion of them were delivered yesterday. More will be delivered today. You guys have the graphics. And I will also say we're posting all this out. City of Frankfort, Kentucky, Facebook page, Ready Frankfort, Franklin County Fiscal Court, social media pages, but we've put all these resources together. We have one central flood relief website through the city's website that houses all of these too, a one-stop shop. Those dumpsters are out. They are open for anyone who needs to be dumping debris. Starting today in the city, we are mobilizing all available city and county staff and all available city and county equipment to begin going out to the areas that have been especially hit hard. Today we're going to start with the Paul Sawyer Drive Hermitage area because there's a lot going on down there, and those residents really need some assistance getting that debris out of there. And then our crews are actually going to work through the weekend. We're going to bring in loaders. We're going to bring in dump trucks. We are going to actively go through there and work on clearing all that debris. So we will be posting. First and foremost, we really this morning want to ask if you don't live in these flood affected areas, and if you're not there to help someone who does live there, we really need you to avoid those areas. We've got the streets where we'll be working are closed off by our Frankfort Police Department right now, just to make sure that we're keeping the public who are working there safe, and we need cars off street so that our crews can get in there and help with that cleanup. So that's first and foremost. We're going to update where those sites are. We're going to be hitting everything we can, the rest of South Frankfort that's been impacted, North Frankfort, Bell Point. And so we are going to be posting those specific areas where our crews will be working throughout the weekend.
Okay. But by all means, if you're coming to help, then I'm sure your help is needed.
And I will say, so along with that, we have first shout out to Jenny Durr, who works for Franklin County Fiscal Court.
Yep.
She has taken over as our primary volunteer manager in all of this relief. And then actually she's going to be assisted by Christina Libby, who is going to be taking over some of that too. So within the first 12 hours of us posting a link for volunteer assistance, we had almost 300 names, which was amazing.
Right.
We're over 600 now, and Jenny and Christina are going through that. I think there were probably about 15 different emails sent out yesterday connecting people who have signed up to available opportunities in the community.
Yeah.
We are working through that list. You'll be getting emails from Christina probably over the weekend, mobilizing some groups to come help specifically in these areas with that debris removal. So, if you need help, we are going to be trying to get more boots on the ground, essentially, in those areas too.
So if people are doing that kind of thing, do they need to come with supplies, or will there be
no supplies? So we have supplies there. We'll come dressed, ready to, you're going to be helping just moving debris out there. We will have PPE for you. We'll have vests. We'll have a volunteer coordinator on site. The best way to get plugged into that opportunity is to go to that form. Though we don't want you to just show up in an area. Go through that form, and we're going to follow up with you personally, very specifics, give you all that relevant information.
Awesome. Yeah, I did see, there's the form.
There it is. Also on that website, on all the social media pages, but also on that website too.
Okay. Nice. Speaking of the dumpsters, I saw the dumpsters already out on my way to work today, down at the Lee's boat ramp.
Yep.
So
they are out. Our the waste hauler, Republic Services is based here in Franklin County. They're a great partner for both the city and the county. People in our region have been hit hard. Both the city and the county were hit hard. So Republic is working to keep up with that dumpster inventory as best as they can. So, we just ask for some patience. They're pulling in dumpsters from all over the place. So we're rolling them out as soon as we get them. Our county solid waste department, our city solid waste department is actually going to open up their Rouse Avenue facility tomorrow, Saturday, from 7:30 to noon for specific flood debris waste drop off. So that's going to be another opportunity. You do have to take it there, but if you are able to do that, that's going to be another location for you tomorrow.
Awesome. All right, we've had a lot of electric meters that have had to be pulled. We have on our end have been received calls, but then so we set up a special line for that.
Yes, and
let's talk about that.
So I want to say the electric hotline specifically, fabulous example of how all the agencies in our community have just dropped everything and just come to the table to work together. The electric reconnection became our first priority yesterday morning, or maybe the morning before that. All my days are running together at this point. But we literally were able to, at 8 o'clock in the morning, pull in all the relevant players from the Frankfort Plant Board, from Franklin County, and from the city of Frankfort to get this process worked out. So if you follow this graphic, I believe all of us have shared this. We have set up, just to help expedite this process for everyone as much as we can, we have set up a specific electric hotline, 502-352-2280. That is the number to call for any of your electric needs.
And that's for homes that have been affected by the flood.
For homes that have been affected by the flood. So as you are returning back to your house and you don't have electricity, that is where you need to start. We have a questionnaire. We have staff who are answering that to help walk you through what your situation is. They're going to save you the trouble of having to piecemeal together between calling to get, service reconnected, getting an inspection, getting what you need. They're going to help walk you through that just in that one phone call. And
I do want to add in, if you are a customer that does have electric issues that are non-flood related, just call FPB directly. And again, that's at FPB 352-4372. And, that's, if you have a tree on a line or whatever, if it's not flood related and you're having electric issues, call us.
So while all this work is going on, do we have a curfew?
We do. The public has been amazing, just, helping out, doing their part, really being great as we've implemented different things in the community. The first few nights, we just issued a standard curfew for our South Frankfort downtown areas impacted in the city. And that was because while the water was still up, we don't want anyone getting close to it. At night, that just makes things harder. The river is back down now. We've got streets cleared. So what we are doing now is working to protect these areas that have been hit hard by the flood. So the areas in yellow on this map are under a curfew. They are residential areas that have been impacted by flooding. So essentially in South Frankfort, it's going to be Murray Street, all the way back to the river, between East 2nd and East 4th Streets. The residential end of Taylor Avenue back to the entrance of Devil's Hollow Road, Bell Point neighborhood, and then the Walter Todd neighborhood. So that curfew is 8:30 p.m. That's about when the sun sets until 6 a.m. We do have police crews who are stationed at those areas overnight. If you live there, you will be asked to just show identification that you are a resident there, and you absolutely may enter. If you need to leave, if you need to go out to work during that curfew, you're fine to do that. What this curfew is for is anyone who does not live on one of those streets. We don't want anybody else in there overnight. Yeah. So the areas in orange on that map are our city-owned parks, Riverview Park and Dolly Graham Park. Those are completely closed to the public 24/7 right now. Those areas obviously were hit hard. We need to make sure that they are all safe and back
clean.
up and running and clean and all of that before we can let the public back in there.
And then also the Wapping Street, Watson Court.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I skipped right over that. Thank you. Okay. North Frankfort. So that's going to be Wapping Street over to Wilkinson, between St. Clair Bridge Street over to Wilkinson, back towards the river. All those residential areas as well are under that same curfew.
Sure.
Yep. It does not affect, this is our curfew now moving forward. So that has been issued under, the mayor has issued that curfew, and we're going to leave that standing until we can ensure those areas are safe and secure, and we'll issue a follow-up order from the mayor to release all those.
At Dolly Graham, obviously nothing's running right now, but do we know if, that you got pumps for the water park and stuff like that? Do we have any idea if there's been any damage there?
So when we built all of that, a lot of the main mechanisms were built to where they could be pulled and taken, so that even if there's, some damage to equipment, the main operating systems are still going to be working. So we'll have lots of updates on that as they get in there. I know our parks crews were out there very first thing, assessing that damage, and a priority. Dolly Graham Park is a priority for the city to get open back up, because it's such an essential part of that South Frankfort community. And so we're really working on that.
Now, we've got relief efforts going on at Pic Pac.
So many.
A lot happening there. So talk about that.
So much. So we have been able to set up the former Pic Pac location. That is going to continue to be our primary relief distribution hub as we move forward. We have extended those hours beginning today, starting at 10 a.m. through 6 p.m. That's going to continue today, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We intend to continue to leave that site open through next week, but we're going to reevaluate supplies and need and all of that over the weekend, and then we'll update everybody on what those hours are going to be. We have had a huge response from the Red Cross in the community. They are helping to supply stuff. We've had huge donations from Walmart here in town, from Starbucks, from so many businesses who have sent water and cleaning supplies. And so that is what this site is for. It is for water. It is for cleaning supplies. We actually do have a supply of diapers here if you need it. We have a couple of groups who are serving hot meals as you drive through. So if you need a hot meal to eat while you are out actively working, cleaning up, please drive through here because we can provide that for you. And then starting today, the health department is going to be on site at Pic Pac as well, offering tetanus shots for anyone who needs one.
Okay.
So
awesome.
if you are helping with cleanup, we really, really, really urge you just to go get that tetanus shot.
Nice. Shelters.
We have also had a huge response from community agencies who have space to offer up. And so we are still running shelters right now at Franklin County High School and the Capital Senior Activity Center. We will continue to update those. Those still have plenty of capacity. So if anyone finds themselves in need of overnight shelter, that is open and available for you. As Franklin County schools go back to school next week after spring break, we actually have about 5 different locations as backups for these shelters. And so as we need to update and make changes on locations, we'll be pushing that information out as well.
Awesome.
And we mentioned the Franklin County Flood Relief Donation Fund.
Yes.
We've got a graphic for that one. Again, we can mention it again, as you can't say it enough. But tell us a little bit about what those funds will go to.
Absolutely. So as of this morning, we launched this fund. We have, we are so fortunate that we have the Franklin County Community Fund here in our community, and so they were able to, through the Bluegrass Endowment Fund, able to set up this very specific flood relief donation fund. 100% of what is in this fund is going to stay in Frankfort and Franklin County. It is all tax deductible, so it's a great mechanism for anyone to donate. As of this morning, we launched this on Monday. As of this morning, we've raised $45,000 for our community, which is amazing. We really want to encourage everyone. If you don't know what to do, if you don't know how to help, this is the number one best place for you to direct your resources right now. This fund is going to, we're going to have criteria for taking in requests to be giving that assistance back out to the community. I expect that will happen sometime next week, where we'll be able to start putting that back out there, really just to help people with what their needs are the most as they're trying to get back in homes and businesses and, start that next phase of after we get back in and clean up, and then what comes next.
Right.
We are going to leave this fund up, and it's going to continue to run because we're kind of just in the beginning phases of that rebuilding and what happens next. And that's when our neighbors are going to need this financial assistance the most.
Right. Okay. Well, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
So when we talk about financial assistance and things that are happening, there's also FEMA will be involved.
Yes.
So where are we in that process?
So we are working extremely closely. When I say this has been a group effort, it has been a group effort. The day, Saturday, that this all happened, immediately our Kentucky Emergency Management Office had their people here, have their people on the ground. They work hand in hand with FEMA. So, everyone declared an emergency declaration when we knew that this flood was going to reach that major flood stage. And that is what has allowed us to put in place all of these life-saving measures to be able to do feeding, to be able to do shelters, all of that. Going forward, we have worked closely with all those agencies and put in place all of the steps locally that we need to do for this state to then take that federal declaration packet, approve it, put it together, and send it to the president, to the federal government. And then once that is signed at the federal level, that's when the individual assistance part of the FEMA response opens up.
Okay.
And so that's what will be there for people who have been personally impacted. Then that's when all of those resources will become available. So right now, I know it doesn't feel like it, especially if you have been impacted, but we are right on track with this process. We're doing, everything we can do through the state level all the way up to the federal level. The mayor and the judge were actually joined by Congressman Comer this morning at our Emergency Operations Center. He has been in communication, with everyone at the city and county all week long, as have state representatives. And so everyone is working together to make sure that, all the paperwork is done and everything we're going right through that process. So
excellent.
Yep.
Well, we're glad to hear all of that and have an update, so people at least have an idea of what's going on, if they need help, where they can get it, where the dumpsters are, where you can get a tetanus shot. And I have more information about that as well. There's another clinic happening that the Frankfort Independent Schools is putting on, because again, a lot of their students' families have been affected by this. So it's happening right now at Frankfort High School, 9 a.m. to 11:30, and then this afternoon they'll be at the Capitol Plaza Hotel from noon to 2. So if plenty of opportunities to get a tetanus shot, so you can start working with this cleanup. So we encourage you to do that, because it's important.
Frankfort High School this morning, Capitol Plaza this afternoon, and then Pic Pac
all the
day.
time.
Yep.
Okay.
10 to 6.
Okay.
Good deal. Blair's a wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
I'm amazed. I don't even feel like she was looking at her notes. Just knew everything right off the top of her head.
It's been her life this week. I know that for certain.
We are lucky to have her, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. I mean, I would just say I feel lucky that we have this community. I mean, I know that sounds so cliche at this point, but from where I've been sitting all week, truly an amazing community response. The city and county have come together, and just essentially whenever someone says we need something, everyone says, okay, let's do it.
Well, and we've even had people come in from out of state to help.
My gosh.
And then at the EOC
we've
Center
had special
as well.
task forces sent to us without even asking, from North Carolina, from Virginia, from communities who have gone through this and who have literally been there with us to say, here's what you do next. Here's what you do next. Helping us fill out all the paperwork. It's been amazing.
We had those folks from North Carolina help us with that river crossing
That's right.
for the telecom line.
Yep.
And they were all about it.
Yeah.
They were like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
We're like, well, come on.
Yeah.
It's really been amazing.
Yeah.
It is inspiring when you go through anything like this, and just seeing people come together. It's tragic, but to see what people can do when they get together is just awesome. Blair, thank you for everything you do and the great job you do, and being here and filling us all in.
That's right.
Of course. Thank you all so much. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for patience this morning. Thanks for patience as we continue to go through this process.
I'm sure at some point next week or later on, there's going to be some kind of debrief.
Yes.
On all of the stuff. And
really we are maintaining right now everything we're doing. We're going to maintain until we can get this phase, until we can get cleanup and that next phase going. Once we get more guidance on FEMA and when all those next steps happen, you'll see another big push of information out there.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Next, I think
Hope
we're
you
going
have a good weekend.
Yeah. A dry weekend, perhaps.
Yes.